Hello friends, welcome back to Mountain Life Fitness with Christy. Today is going to be some anxiety relieving yoga. So we're going to be mostly on the floor. We're going to do a little bit standing up just to start to incorporate the breath with our body. But then we'll be on the ground for a while. So one thing I would like to suggest today is that when you pick a spot in your house to do your yoga, if possible, be close to a wall or a door. Because eventually, we're going to set the mat up this way with it butted right up to a wall or a closed door. So take a moment and get yourself ready. After which, we'll start with the mat sideways and just pause in Tadasana for a moment. So Tadasana means mountain pose. It just means that your eyes can be closed and your shoulders are stacked over your hips, which are stacked over your ankles or heels. Your feet are about hips width distance, and your arms are down, soft and long beside you, palms rotated slightly towards the front. And then we're just going to take a moment to feel and come into our body. So you can pick up your toes, wiggle them out, set them back down. Start to really feel like you're reaching up tall through the crown of your head and down through your fingertips and soles of your feet. You can start to turn on your legs by pressing down into the floor and start to elongate your breath. You're going to breathe deep in through the nose, drawing it all the way down into your lower belly space. And then a slow exhale through the mouth. We're just going to take about 4 or 5 more breaths here. And while you do, you can shrug your shoulders up, back, and down a couple times. You can let your neck roll in circles, maybe one direction to start, but then make sure that you also go in the other direction. Maybe make some figure eights with your neck. And coming back to stillness in body and mind, take a moment to just set an intention for your day or just for the class. Try to pick one word that's positive and has a nice ring to it in your heart. So I've been doing acceptance a lot, and I started this month doing motivation. So I'm just going to breathe in feelings of motivation and purpose, and I'm going to breathe out feelings of stagnation and apathy. And from here, start to wiggle your fingers, start to make some circles with your wrists. And when your next inhale comes, breathe your arms up high, palms touch at the top. We'll do a gentle back bend as you exhale. Bring your elbows wide like goalposts. Inhaling back up through center, hands come to heart. And as you exhale, just find an easy forward fold. And we're going to take that fold all the way down to the ground and find your way onto your hands and knees on your mat. So for the beginning, we're going to just do some cats and cows, and that's going to wake up our core, start to get the blood flowing and the breath tied to movement. So if you know cat and cow, just begin to do it on your own. A couple pointers to get you in the know. Your hands are directly under your shoulders. Your knees are directly under your hips. And your exhale is the cat pose. So you look like a scared Halloween kitty from the side. Your back is arched. You're pushing the ground away with your hands so that you poof up in the shoulders, tucking your chin tight to look up towards your belly. Your inhalation loosens the belly down. Your tail and your gaze go up. And then you just flow through this at your own breath. A couple of things you can incorporate. You could curl your toes under and start to push back with your feet to wake up the soles of your feet and the fascia. You can squeeze your thighs in towards each other. You can pull the heel of your hand towards your knee without moving it in space, just energetically starting to wake up more muscles. And at the end of your next breath cycles, come back to a neutral spine, and then just sway your hips gently to the left and let them hang there for a moment. You should start to feel a nice strong stretch in your outer hip. You can gaze over your right shoulder too. If your toes were still curled under, uncurl your toes. Inhale through the center, let your hips sway over to the right and let them just hang heavy. Maybe gaze over your left shoulder. And then we'll just do that twice to breath. Inhaling up through center and to the left, pause for the exhale. Inhaling up through center, hips to the right, Pause for the exhale. Coming back through center, child's pose. Separate your knees wide, maybe even to the edges of your mat or beyond. Hips come to heels, and then start to sink your belly towards the ground as you walk your hands forward. Eventually, let your forehead come down to the ground, and just rest in child's pose. A couple things to think about in child's pose. You want to shift your hips back and let them hang heavy towards the ground. You would like to reach forward with your arms so that your shoulders get a release, and try to let your torso, belly, and head rest on or towards the floor. As you do, imagine that I'm pressing down gently on your hips and let them hang even heavier to start to feel length all the way across your spine. We're going to come up very slowly. Let your head hang heavy. Keep your eyes closed if you can, and walk your hands slowly back up towards a seated posture. And bring your knees closer together, and then inch forward towards the front of your mat, about halfway. So you're in the middle. From here, we're going to do a little movement on our knees. So if your knees are sensitive, you can always roll your mat up to make more padding under your knees, or you could put a little blanket under your knees. This is Vajrasana, translated from Sanskrit, that is thunderbolt pose. It's very simple. I'll demonstrate for you so that you know what you're doing before you go. The inhalation brings your arms up high, and as you exhale, a couple things happen. You bring your hands back behind to your sacrum, your hips go back towards your heels, and your forehead comes down to the floor. So you can tap your chin, nose, or forehead on the ground. And then the inhalation brings you all the way back up, hips forward and up, arms and gaze to the sky. And exhale, the same thing again. So you can begin, and you just want to go really slow. Make sure that you're lengthening the time that it takes to inhale and really moving with your breath. Maybe even a slight arch in the back at the top of your inhalation. And as you exhale, squeeze your thighs in towards each other to support you as you sink your forehead down to the ground. And we're going to continue this way for 4 or 5 more breaths. Just depends on how slow and long you can get them. You can start to alternate which hand is on top. So one hand is on your sacrum and one hand is on your hand. And you can also start to alternate which cheek comes to the floor. So instead of touching your forehead, you can tap your right cheek once. And then the next time you come up, you remember to switch your hands and tap your left cheek on the mat. Wherever you're at, finish the round of breath you're on and do 1 or 2 more so that you feel even on both sides. So if you've tapped your right cheek twice, you've also tapped your left cheek twice. And the next time that you come up, stay raised on your knees. Exhale your arms wide, and we'll go just into a big back bend here. So a couple options. You can stay here with your arms wide, or you can start to go into camel. Turn your toes under, bring your hands to your lower back, reach your back up and heart up and head back. Stay here for 1 more breath in and stay through 1 more breath out. As you inhale, come back up through center. We're going to lower our feet to the floor, hips to heels, hands to legs, and then just pause for a couple breaths. Let your eyes close. Let your hands rest on your chin or thighs. Let your shoulders hang back and down. And just use your breath to slow down your heart rate for 2 more cycles. Inhaling your intention back into your mind and your soul. Exhaling things that don't serve that intention. 1 more big breath in. Nice slow breath out. Shift your weight onto one side and bring your legs forward. So you're just going to extend them long, straight in front of you. You can be on your mat or off to the side. With your hands back behind you gently, just give yourself a little back bend, arch your shoulders back, heart up. Flex your toes and push your heels away so much that your heels are maybe even rising off of the ground. And rotate your thighs in towards each other. Start to rise up, bring your hands up high, and we're just going to do a big forward fold as you exhale, but keeping your back straight. So as you hinge forward, keep your spine long and straight from tailbone through the crown and only come forward as far as you can, keeping that integrity. Notice that it might not be very far, but keep flexing your toes and hugging your thighs in, pushing out through your heels so your legs are very active here. As you inhale, come up a little, and as you exhale, slide your hands a little farther down. Get a grip on your calves or ankles. Inhale to come up, and then as you exhale, just pull your heart forward, and we'll breathe this way for a couple more rounds of breath. Inhaling to come up a little. Exhale, reaching your hands as far down, maybe towards your feet, keeping a mostly straight back. Inhale to come up a little more. Exhale, forward. One more time like that. Re-engage your legs. Push out through your heels. Pull back with your toes. This time as you exhale, start to relax forward. You can bend your knees a little. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Curve your spine deeply. Start to push back with your lower back as you push forward and down with your hips. Rolling your chin towards your chest. And begin trying to touch your forehead to your knees. So you might need to bend your knees a whole bunch. And you can keep your arms forward to keep stretching your back. Hands can be on calves or ankles or feet. But keep flexing your toes back, curving your spine, trying to get your forehead to your knees. And we'll take 2 more breaths here with your knees slightly bent or a lot bent. And feel your back expand with each inhalation. And then we'll either stay here for the next couple breaths working in that position, or you can start to bring your legs a little more straight, bend your elbows a little bit more, and pull your forehead towards your knees with your legs a little more straight. Wherever you're at, push your belly button in towards your spine, roll deep. Try to get your forehead to your knees, and notice if your elbows are out, tuck them in, pull forward with your heart by pulling back with your arms. Feel the compression of your belly and your thighs, and try to soften the area behind your knees. Stay for one more big breath in and a big breath out. To come up, we'll do the opposite of the way we came in. Release your arms, roll up one vertebra at a time, keeping your chin tucked tight until you get all the way up to the top. Then shrug your shoulders up, back and down. Bring the soles of your feet to the floor and scoot your hips towards your heels a little bit. Wrap your arms around your legs and just rest with your forehead on your forearms for one breath. Raise your head, reach your arms forward, and you're going to roll down your back slowly onto the floor. Gaze towards your belly button and try to keep your belly active this whole time, pushing towards the floor as you slowly, slowly, slowly lay down one bit of back on the ground at a time. When your head touches down, bring your arms up and back and let them rest on the ground. Either biceps by ears or arms out by your shoulders, like in cactus arms. Bring your feet a little closer to your body and separate them wider than your hips. You can lift your hips up and resettle them down to straighten out your spine. And then just let your legs exhale slowly down to the right as you bring your gaze to the left. We'll rest here for a couple breaths. Notice where you feel sensation. And as long as it's not pain, settle into it. You might feel a pinching in your outer right hip. You might feel a stretching across the front of your left. And try to come to zero use of muscles here. See if you can relax the muscles around your spine. Relax your face muscles. Relax your belly and your legs. Take the next big breath in. Make it the biggest breath you've had so far today. And let it go through an open mouth. Relax your shoulders. Your inhalation will bring your knees slowly up to the center. And then we're just going to exhale down to the left. Your gaze can come towards the right, chin towards your right shoulder. Start to settle in. See if you can begin to relax your muscles here. Again, always working in a pain-free range of motion, but trying to find the stronger sensation. So maybe you can let your legs hang a little heavier. Maybe you can relax that upper leg and let it feel like there's a sandbag on it, pushing it gently towards the ground. Let your head really hang heavy on the floor. Make the next breath the biggest breath in through your nose. And a nice full mouth, open mouth exhale. Start to inhale, bring your legs back up to center. And then bring your knees in towards your belly. Bring your knees together first and then in towards you. Point and flex your toes a couple times as you start to bring your legs even closer. And then either clasp your hands on your shins to pull your legs in, or wrap your arms around your legs, clasping opposite elbows. Point your toes, keep them pointed as strong as you can. Feel your toes. And press the back of your head into the mat. Shrug your shoulders down towards the ground. Squeeze with your biceps. Make this very active. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, relax your feet or flex them back towards your chins. And then bring your nose up to your knees. Inhale to come back down. Exhale, coming up. And we'll do that 3 more times. As you inhale, bring your head down to the mat. Try to straighten your whole spine on the ground. And as you exhale, squeeze tighter with your arms. Really just press your legs into each other. Get into a tight, firm ball. Inhaling, head and shoulders back down. Relax a little. Exhale, engage. Bring everything in towards the center. Try to squeeze out every bit of air. 1 more time. Inhaling, head and shoulders to the ground. Exhale, squeezing up into a tiny ball. Get rid of all the air. This time, release back down towards the ground. Let your arms come down, feet to the floor, knees still bent. Bring your hands down by your hips and then shrug your shoulders closer together underneath you. Press down firmly through your feet and start to raise your hips up towards the ceiling. Once they get up high, bring your elbows and shoulders closer together and maybe clasp your arms or hands underneath you. Try to relax your butt muscles as you push your hips up high. Do not let your legs splay out to the side. Try to keep them closer together in line with your hips. And then make some adjustments. See if you can get your heart and hips higher. Squeeze your elbows closer, reach your hands towards your heels, and try to maintain some space between your chin and your chest by pressing the back of your head into the ground. Keeping a big, full breath cycle going, keep raising your hips, pressing down. Squeeze your shoulders and elbows. Feel a compression in your arms, feel your fingers. Maybe raise your toes up off the ground, and then separate them, and then slowly try to place them down one at a time. As you keep reaching your hips up, stretch your tailbone towards your knees to lengthen your spine. And at the end of your next breath, keep your hips raised, but release your arms and relax them. We're gonna try to lower down, starting at the top of our spine, 1 vertebra at a time. So push your tailbone up towards the sky as you lower your back down. Come all the way down. Extend your legs long on the mat. Separate them wider than the mat, so your heels are maybe on your rug or floor. And then separate them as wide as you can get them. You might feel a little pinch in your hip crease. Try to settle into that as long as it's not pain. If it's sensation that is strong because you haven't moved your legs like this in a while, try to relax into that. And then echo that shape with your arms. So you would look from the sky like a big starfish. Maybe try closing your eyes. And then push out through your heels. Flex your toes back towards your face and rotate your pinky toes towards the floor. So this is a hip opener. Stretch out through your fingers and try to reach as far in the opposite angles of your feet as you can. Push out and then press the backs of your hands into the floor. Tense up your butt muscles. Push your shoulders into the ground. Tense up every muscle as you try to reach everything as far away from the center of your body as you can. Scrunch up your face a little bit. Push your head into the ground. Tense everything up. Reach, reach, reach. And then exhale to relax everything into the ground. And come to zero use of muscles for 1 or 2 more long, slow breaths. Start to bring your heels closer together again, slowly. Then again, bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Straighten out your spine on the ground, hug your knees gently and slowly in towards your body, and rock a little from side to side. This feels like a nice lower back massage. You can make that even better by making big circles in space with your knees. And then going in the opposite direction. We'll open up into a happy baby. So that means you separate your knees, feet go up towards the ceiling. Arms are inside of your legs, but hands are outside. And you clasp your feet from the pinky toe edge of your foot. From here, push your feet up towards the sky as you pull back with your shoulders, or with your biceps. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Try to get your knees closer to the floor on either side as you at the same time are pushing your feet towards the ceiling, creating some tension in your arms, hips, and legs. Keep it active. Really pull strongly with your arms. Push with your feet for one more big breath in. And then release your grip. Stretch your legs up towards the ceiling, arms up high. Wiggle your arms, or your feet and legs, and arms and hands in the sky for just a moment. And then we'll open up into a wide leg. So your legs are going to be long and straight, trying to keep your knees stacked over your hips and your heels over your knees so that engagement with your core is pressing into the floor. But then just use your hands to gently open up your legs wide into a V as far as feels comfortable. You can even relax your knees a little. You can relax your legs completely and just gently let gravity hold them open. Or you can push out through your thighs, push your hands and your legs into each other to create a little resistance. We'll stay here for 2 more slow breaths. If you're relaxing your legs, just really sink into gravity. If you're pushing, really push firmly with your legs into your hands and provide resistance with your hands. 1 more big breath in. And as you exhale, bend your knees. Again, bring them back towards the center, hug them in, and rock gently from side to side. You can wiggle your ankles and toes here too. Just let something else go. We'll open up into a happy baby again. Knees go wide, and this time you can play around a little. Rock from side to side. Close your eyes, go internal. See what would feel good. Straightening one leg at a time and rocking to that side sometimes feels good, and then doing the same thing on the other side. Pretend like you're just a little baby rolling around on the floor with no judgments to worry about. Just feeling your body, and experiment for another couple breaths. Maybe butterfly legs. Maybe you just hang gently and still in happy baby for a moment. Reconnect with your intention. Breathing in something positive and exhaling anything negative that does not assist you in achieving your positive goal. And slowly start to come back towards center. Hug your knees in again. Rock a little from side to side. And we're going to gently make our way up to standing just so that we can move to the wall. So you can rock and roll forward and back. Or you can just let your legs fall over to one side and come to stand or seated. When you get there, just gently, you don't have to come all the way to standing, I guess. You can just bring your mat over to the wall or the closed door. And we're going to come into legs up the wall. And I'll tell you an easy way to do that. And once our legs are up in the sky, we're going to move around a little bit and then we'll relax into it. One of the reasons that I'm suggesting we do this, legs up the wall, is everybody's favorite posture. But also it's really nice for relieving anxiety because your head is above your heart. And this, one of my favorite reasons that helps is because it's just a gentle reminder in your physiology to let your heart sometimes take precedence over your head. And it might remind us that to lead with the heart sometimes instead of overthinking things, which is sometimes where anxiety comes from. So the best way to get into this is to pick a hip and just smush it all the way right up against the wall. So you're touching the wall. And then you're just gonna inch sort of to the edge of your mat, and as you lay it back, start to rotate. So you bring your butt and thighs to the wall. You want to make sure that there is no space between your butt and the wall. So shimmy all the way up there, and then bring your legs straight up to the sky, and we'll just stay here for a moment. You can point and flex your toes a few times. You can open wide into the same kind of a V for a moment if you like. You can do butterfly legs. We're just going to stay here for a moment with our feet above our hips, which is really good for our circulation and makes it easier on our heart. For just a moment. Maybe close your eyes. Start to feel gravity working on your blood and having it pull back towards your hips instead of how it usually pushes it towards your feet. Make gentle movements again. Experiment in what feels good for you for the next 3 nice, slow breaths. Stillness is an option. Closed eyes are an option. Smiling is an option. From here, we're going to raise our hips off the ground in a very specific way. So just bring the soles of your feet to the floor. Let your arms come down to the floor for balance, and just start to push your feet into the floor to raise up your hips. We'll raise and lower a few times. Nice and slow. You can feel this feels like a nice shoulder and back massage on the floor to me. You're going to try to maintain space between your chin and your chest. So the next, you might want to experiment now with sliding your feet a little higher up the wall and do the same thing. Bring your hips up higher. Start to feel the muscles in your legs working. And the next time your hips are up, keep them up as high as you can and start to shrug your shoulders closer together underneath you like we did earlier. Bring your hands, place them under or right on the back of your hips, like sort of where your pockets would be in your jeans. Inch your elbows closer together. Keep space between your chin and chest, and raise your hips up as high as you can get them. Once they're up high, straighten your left leg up towards the ceiling for a moment and wiggle it around. Maybe bring it back, long leg behind your head towards the floor and up towards the ceiling again. Then place that foot on the wall. Make sure you feel stable, and then bring your right leg up. Wiggle your foot around. Maybe extend your leg long towards the floor. Bring it back up. Bring it back to the wall. So options here. You can work here, moving your legs around one at a time. You can bring your feet back down lower and keep raising and lowering your hips. Or you can start to squeeze your elbows towards each other, press into the ground, and bring both feet up towards the ceiling. From here, we have other options. You can stay in your shoulder stand. Try to get your hips over your shoulders and your knees and ankles over each other. Or you can go towards candlestick pose, which is long, straight legs, extending past your head. Again, try to maintain small space between your chin and your chest. Or you can go into plow, which is bringing your feet down towards the floor behind you. You can also just make bicycle legs. Really, this is whatever you want it to be for the next couple breaths. Keep working. Maybe experiment. Maybe you bring your hips down for a moment and then just raise and lower them again. But we've got about 3 more breaths to experiment here with any movement that feels good. Keep checking in with your body and operating in a pain-free range of motion. And at the end of your next exhale, start to bring your legs up. Inhale. If your feet are away from the wall, bring them to the wall. And try to slowly, slowly lower down on an exhalation. Once you get there, bring your arms wide to T and just let your head rock gently from side to side. And then we're going to stay with legs up the wall for about 5 more breaths in stillness, or open up your legs wide and pause there in stillness. Close your eyes. Let your body that's on the floor sink into the floor. Feel it supported by the floor. And then feel gravity working on the parts of your body that are raised. Feel your blood pumping through your heart. Maybe feel the slightly different sensation that is happening in your feet and ankles. I often feel tingly in my legs at this point. Try to relax your neck. You can again rock your neck from side to side if you built up a little tension in the last pose in your neck. And make the next 2 breaths the slowest, longest breaths you've had so far today. Exhaling things that do not serve your purpose. Inhaling positive emotions and feelings. To get out of this, we're just gonna start by slowly sliding your feet down the wall and bringing your knees in towards your belly and hugging it in again. Then just let your legs fall over to the right. And when they come down, roll over, slowly press yourself up and come towards the front of your mat. We're gonna sit with our legs at the front of the mat. And we're just gonna do a little neck release because we just had it crunched forward quite intensely. So we're gonna release it back in fish pose. So with your legs straight forward, again like before, press out through your heels. We're gonna sit on our hands. So I'll go sideways to show you. You're gonna sit with your fingertips pointing towards your thighs, and then try to shrug your elbows closer together. Keep your feet flexed and lower down onto your ankles while gazing at your feet, so your head is still raised. Push out long through your heels, squeeze your elbows, arch your back a lot. Try to reach your heart towards the sky, and then bring your head so that you are looking towards the ceiling. Stay here for a nice long breath to strengthen your neck. And then slowly start to release. Let your head just hang. But notice if you're sinking into your shoulders, re-engage. Push your elbows in, squeeze your elbows towards each other. Heart comes high to the sky, feet are flexed strong. Let your head dangle behind. Maybe even look at the floor and feel a long stretch across your throat. When your next inhalation comes, pull your gaze towards the ceiling. And then bring your gaze to your feet, and then slowly, slowly lower down onto your back. Pause with your hands still under you for just a beat, and then roll your hips off to the side so you can release your arms. And we'll stay on the ground for Shavasana. So Shavasana just means that you're laying on your back with your legs in front of you and your arms to your sides, and you are relaxing. So palms should be slightly towards the sky, and start to really feel the relaxation of Shavasana. Starting at the crown of your head, feel a nice, maybe you want to assign a color to this wave of relaxation. And just feel that slowly flowing down through you, through your head, down towards your throat. Everything is relaxed in the wake of this nice, slow wave that comes down through your shoulders. And as it works down through your torso, it is also going down through your arms. It's reaching towards your pelvis and your fingertips, draining out through your fingertips as it continues down through your thighs, past your knees and calves, down to your ankles, through the soles of your feet, and any remaining energy just drains out from through your toes. Rest here in Shavasana for as long as you like. Hopefully you have a little more time carved out for you this afternoon or morning, and whenever you're watching this, I guess. I would recommend staying in Shavasana for no less than 5 more breaths, but maybe it turns into a nap. That's okay too. Shavasana means corpse pose, so it means you really got nothing else going on. So try to embrace that for the next few moments. Stay as long as you can. I'll leave you here. Just remember that when you rise, do it gently, slowly. Wake up like you might in the morning on a day when you have nothing to do, and just ease your way back up into a seated posture when you're ready. I recommend trying to take this calm with you out into the world. You can bring that wave of peace and relaxation with you and access it whenever you need to calm down. And we can share that just energetically with the rest of the world, even if they don't know why they feel better when they're around you. And thank you for sharing yoga with me.